Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Jai Shri Ram. Welcome to our next episode in our complete reading of Srimad Valmiki Ramayana. In the previous episode, we saw how Ravanasura went to AshokaVana and tried to convince or rather entice Sitamaa to become his wife. But now Sitamaa is now going to respond to this Rakshasadhama, and let us see how she responds. Dukkhartarutti Sita Vevamana Tapasvini Chintayanti Vararoha Patimeva Pativrata. So here they are saying Dukkha Artha means she's suffering with a lot of sadness, a lot of dukkha, a lot of discomfort. Rudati, she's crying. Sita, Vepamana Tapasvini, she's shivering. Vepamana Tapasvini, what is the tapas she's doing? She's constantly thinking about Sri Ramachandra. Chintayanti Vararoha Patimeva Pativrata. And now she is starting to speak. Before she speaks, Maharshi just shows us how she is, and now she is speaking. Trunamantaratah kritva pratyuvacha suchismita. So she took a small blade of grass, she cut it, and she put it in front of him and spoke. Now there are a lot of meanings as to why Sitamaa did this, and there are a lot of interpretations also for this. We'll go through a few of them. So one of the interpretations is that, it's very obvious, this has more value than you. You are rather equivalent to this blade of grass in my eyes. That's the first meaning. Two, the queens of the olden days, they never spoke directly with men, so they always needed to put something in the middle and talk. So they used to have a parda, or they used to have these curtains through which people used to speak. They never used to speak directly. That was how the queens behaved. Now she was putting that because he is a parapurusha. She does not want to speak to him directly. That can be another meaning. And another one is, in front of Sri Ramachandra, you are like this blade of grass. Don't even ever compare yourself with Sri Ramachandra. That's another meaning. And another meaning is, if you hear something that should not be heard, you have made some papa, some mistake, without your knowledge, that mistake got committed. If you have done something of that sort, what would you do? You would touch grass. Sarvam hardame papam durva swapranasini. Till now, Ravanasura spoke a lot of things that should not be spoken. And he spoke everything, right, left, right, center. Everything that he spoke was wrong. Now Sitamaa, by putting a blade of grass in front of her, is telling Ravana, oh Ravana, understand this much. This blade of grass, I am touching it because you spoke a lot of bad things about my husband, and as a wife, I should not be hearing bad things about my husband from others. So I am touching this grass to get myself rid of that papa or that sin. And now she is saying, Naha Maupaiki Bharya, Parabharya Saditava, Sadharma Vekshasva, Sadhu Vratanchara, Atmanam Upman Kurtva, Sveshu Dareshu Ramyatam. This is a wonderful sloka. These were a part of reading for me in my 8th class. So Sadhu Dharma Vekshasva, Sadhu Vratanchara, Yadhavadha Anyeshat, Akshya Dhara Nisachara. So she's saying, oh Ravana, you should follow the dharma. The way you protect your wives, you should be protecting the others' wives also, which essentially means the way you think that your wife needs to be protected, the others' wives also need to be protected. Hence, you should not go and trouble others' wives this way. Atmanam upamam krutva sveshu dareshu ramyatam. You better keep yourself in control. Atustam sveshu dareshu chapatam chapalam chalitendriyam nayanti rikruti pragyam paradara parapavam. If you are not getting happiness from your wife, and if you are not able to control your senses, if you are seeking other women, you would be insulted by those women, because the parastri vyamoha, it's one of the biggest sins. Oh Ravana, you have a lot of tapashakti, and this parastri vyamoha is eating away your tapashakti. And here she is asking a very, very interesting sloka. Brahmeshwari Chaganti Koteshwara Garu keeps quoting this sloka a lot. Ihasanto navasanti satova nanuvartase tadhapi viparitate buddhirachara varjita. Do you have good people in your kingdom or not? If there are good people in your kingdom, they should be already putting your mind in its place. You should not be running after other women like this. Those people should have already put your mind in place. Are they not there in your kingdom, or are you not listening to them? Oh Ravana, tell me this. Or buddhirachara varjita. Is your mind completely out of control, has left the sadachara, that you are doing all these things? Here achara is dharma. If you remember Acharya Prabho Dharmo, Dharmasya Prabhurachyutah. Then you know Vishnu Sahasram Namam very well. For someone on whom the death is dancing, he would not listen to the good words of good people. Like Sitamaa is talking about this sort of things without any fear. For 10 months she is in the captivity of Ravana, and still Sitamaa is her best gutsy self, and she is giving it very nicely back to Ravanasura. She is saying, Akrutatma namasadya Rajanayane ratam samruddhani vinasyanti rashtranin nagarani cha. So she's saying, if a king is corrupt, if a king is not a Jitendriya, if a king doesn't have complete control over his indriyas, someone who gives into the carnal pleasures, that the kingdom of that king will become barren. The cities, the provinces, all of them would be completely annihilated. See the level of knowledge that Sitama also had regarding the kingdom and the rules of the way the king should behave. She's telling all these things to Ravana, but again, Ravana would not listen, right? And indirectly, she's saying, you have everything in your kingdom, but the mistake that you are doing, this is called Mulaghati. You are after Parastri or after others' wives. This is going to break your kingdom. This is going to break your kingdom, and you are going to really repent all that you are doing today. You are going to repent your actions. This is what Sitama is saying. And then she's saying, what do you think of me, Ravana? Do you think that I would fall for money? I would fall for riches? I am a pativrata. I would never ever think of any other man other than my husband. Evam tvam papakarmanam vakshanti nikruta janaha dishtye vyasanam prapto raudra ityeva harshitaha. You are saying all these things that you'll give money to my father and all. No, if you are going to win me by money and all, you are absolutely worthless. You don't even qualify. You don't even think about it, because I am not a woman who is after money or riches. Shaktya lobhaitum naham aiswaryena dharena va ananya raghavenaham bhaskarena prabhayadha. Now again, when Brahmachari Samvedam Sharmukh Sharma Garu was doing a discourse on Sundara Kanda, he says that this sloka actually gives a lot of insight into the Upasana and the Devatas, because see, all the Upanishads, all the Mantra Shastras, they normally say, that Shiva Shakti is Satima, or Shiva Shakti is Parvati Devi, right? Like that, here she's saying Bhaskarena Prabhayada. In Upanishads and all, Parasya Sakti Vividhaiva Sruvete Swabhavaki Jnana Balakriya Cha. So everywhere it is told that Paramatma, with his energy, he is running the whole world. It clearly tells us that he is not under the control of the energy, but the energy or the Shakti is under his control. And at the same time, there is no difference between him and his energy. All these are wonderfully, interwoven with each other. Paramatma is there, Paramatma Shakti is there, but Shakti and Paramatma are one and the same. Similarly, sun is there, sunlight is there. You can't differentiate sunlight from sunlight. Similarly, Shiva and Parvati, or Shiva and Shakti, when they take one form, they are Ardhanarishwara, they are one and the same, right? So this line is being told by Sita Mashi, saying, Ananya Raghavenaham, I am no different than Sri Ramachandra, Bhaskarena Prabhayatha. The way light is for sun, I am it for Sri Ramachandra. And then, in other words, when you are looking at it at a very normal level, it also means that Sita Ma is respecting her bond with Sri Ramachandra heavily. And because with ancient India, or India till 20-30 years ago, or rather 50 years ago, India did not have the concept of divorce, because once they both are joined, they are there for life. Similarly, she is also saying, I am with Sri Ramachandra for life. That's why Swami Hanuman, if you remember what we discussed 2-3 episodes ago, Swami Hanuman would be saying that I thought that I know Sri Ramachandra, but after I saw Sitama, I understood what Sri Ramachandra is. And that's why even Valmiki Maharshi says Sitayas Charitam Mahat. So that's the importance of Sitama, that's the strength of Sitama. Again, my pranams to Brahmashri Samvedam Sharmukh Sharma Garu, who has given these wonderful interpretations for this of Srimad Ramayana, and particularly of Sundara Kanda. अहमोपैकी भार्या तस्ये वसुधापतेः व्रतस्नातस्य विप्रस्य विद्ये विदितात्मनः. Now she's comparing herself and Sri Ramachandra to a person who has learned Vedas properly, and then in the olden days it was not an exam or something. The guru had to tell everyone that the Shishya is fine. So imagine a person who learned Vedas for the proper duration of time and who was certified by the gurus. When a guru certifies someone like this, that person carries that part of Veda with him for his life. Now Sitamaa is saying the way that person carries Veda for his life, or the way Veda resides with that person, I reside with Sri Ramachandra. So indirectly she is telling, I am the Veda Swarupini, or I am the Vedam, and Sri Ramachandra is the Bhagavan. And what is Veda? Veda is Bhagavan's Uchvasa and Nishvasa. So it's the breath of Bhagavan is what we say as Veda. So Sitama is directly or indirectly telling all of us that she is the Jagannmata and Sri Ramachandra is none other than Paramatma himself. Now, even after all this is done, Ravana is not resenting and he is not even listening. So she is saying, Sadhu Ravana Ramena Mam Samanai Dukkitam Vane Vastiya Sartham Karenveva Gajadipam. Oh Ravana, I am crying because of Sri Ramachandra's Viyoga. Please give me back to Sri Rama. I am not begging you, I am telling you, I am advising you, because if you are not doing this activity, you are inviting a sure shot death. Mitramopaikam kartum ramasthanam paripsada vadam chanichada ghoran tvayaso purusharshabha. If you don't want to die an accidental death, if you want to save your kingdom, go and do friendship with Sri Ramachandra. Don't worry that Sri Ramachandra might not forgive you. Sri Ramachandra would forgive you. He is such a nice person. Viditassa hi dharmagyaha saranagata vatsalaha tena maitri bhavatte yedid jeevitum ichchasi. So she's saying, if you want to live, go and make friendship with Sri Ramachandra. Why is Sitama telling all this? We have discussed this in Balakanda and Ayodhya Kanda, right? Where people come and say that Sri Ramachandra would pardon people for hundreds of mistakes, but then after that they should change themselves, right? And again, Sri Ramachandra will never forget even one single good thing that you do. Sri Ramachandra would never forget it. All this we discussed before, right? That's what Sitama is directly telling to Ravana. Sitama here says, even if you do thousands of mistakes, Sri Ramachandra will pardon you. Now again, Puja we say, right? Avarat sahasrani kriyete harni samaya dasoyamit mammatvam kshamasva parameswara. Right? So that meaning is echoing in that sloka as well, right? Again, iham sighram saparvano jwalitasya ivoragahi ishavo nipadishyanti rama lakshana lakshana. If you are not going to give me back to Sri Ramachandra, Sri Rama and Lakshmana are going to come here and they are going to bathe you in arrows. She is now going ahead and she say, because Ravana said, right, that Sri Ramachandra is nothing before me. I have the strength, I have this, I have that, all this he was saying, right? Now she's saying, what do you think? You think you are a equivalent fighter to Sri Ramachandra? Let me tell you who you are. Asriman tayo sunyam pravisya narsimhyoho gocharam gatayor bhrata apaniyat vayadhama nahi gandhamupabhraya Rama Lakshmana Yostvayoh Sikyam Sandarsane Sthatum Suna Sardulayoriva. One is Adhama. She is saying that you are the worst of the creatures. Two, she is saying Suna Sardulayoriva. Means she is saying, the way, if there is a lion, when the dog gets the scent of a lion, the dog won't come in that area. Not just lion, even the dog gets the scent of a cheetah stool or something, the dogs won't go because they're very, very afraid. So here she's saying, you are like a dog who was afraid of those lions and you ensured that those two people go away to a very far place so that you can kidnap me. How do you even think that you are a fighter or a warrior? This is Sitama. After 10 months of captivity, she's giving back in the same coin in such a nice way. And finally she's saying, Giringuberasya gato padhayava sabhangato va varunasya rajnyah असंशयम दाशरथेर्न मोक्षसे महाद्रुमः कालहतोऽसेनेरिव गिरिं कुबेरस्य गतो यथायव. Now who is Kubera? Kubera is the brother of Ravana. So she is saying, even if you go to Kubera's place, means even if you go to your family, Sri Ramachandra will find and kill you. Sabhangato va varunasya rajnyah means even if you go to the Varuna's place, which is like, he is the Dikpalaka of the western direction and he is the end point of the western direction. So she is telling Ravana that even if you go to abode of gods. There also there will be no one to save you. Asamsayam dasaradherna mokshase mahadrumah kala hatoseneriva. You are not going to escape. You can't just escape. How are you going to be punished by Sri Ramachandra? You would be punished by Sri Ramachandra the way a lightning burns an entire tree. You would also be burned to ground, O Ravana. Just understand this much. Ravana got very angry. Sitamaa gave left, right, center. Yes, she put a small blade of grass in the middle, but then the arrows came as if they were running to kill Ravana. Now, how would Ravana respond? That we would be seeing in our next episode. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pasyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet, sarvam kriti sai smarasvam charanarvindarpamastu. Swasti.